Alright, so when you get your BMI 160 with header pins, it will either come pre-snapped or you'll just get one long sort of row of header pins. Now what you want to do if you have a long row of header pins like I do, you want to look, one of these sides has 7 pins, the other one has 5. You basically want to look for the longer one, the 7 one, and put through the header pins like this. And then what you want to do is you want to get your tweezers, right, and just kind of just let it, just let gravity do its thing there. And then make sure the header pins are still on, right? And then grab down here and rotate. And you'll hear the snap. And it's basically snapped into 2 pieces. And then you have the other side, which would connect to the other side like this. Now from here, if you have a breadboard, it's super easy. You just go on Google and search how to solder header pins on a breadboard. It's super easy. But if you don't, I'm going to show you how you're going to do that without a breadboard. But also, before that, we need to remove one of these pins. So we need to remove the pin that corresponds to CS, which is 1 from the end. So you basically, you get the header pins and you want to skip 1 and we're going to remove the second one. So skip this first one, we're going to remove this second one. Now, you can do it with your tweezers, right? And I recommend you do it like this. Put it in your left hand. Hold the black part, like the plastic part, only the plastic part, and leave a small gap here, right? Like there's a small gap here, right? And then you basically just want to push it with this side of your tweezers, not the tweezer side. Push it with the other side of your tweezers very carefully. You don't want to obstruct any of the other pins. Put it a little bit close to the edge if it's not working. Eventually, you'll start to see some movement. And then it's like mostly out. And then it's over. And then, yeah, at this point, it's pretty much out. You just gotta like wiggle this last bit out. Or you can poke through this plastic hole here. But again, try not to obstruct any of the other pins. Let me make sure it's all the way in there, and then should mostly come out. Let me try. Yeah. So what I did there is I basically pulled, because you see how it becomes thinner the closer you get to the edge. I just put it in, and then I pulled it all the way here so that it's like at the thinnest part, and then I squeezed, and then I pulled out, right? And again, try not to obstruct any of the pins. Okay, now we can start soldering. Okay, once your soldering iron is hot, I recommend you get one of these. These are just so good. They just remove all the solder, all the crusty solder. Let me just tin my soldering iron real quick. And, okay. Now we get the header pins that we removed one of the pins from. And you make sure you can see the writing. And you will look for CS, which is, in this case, second from the bottom on the right side, CS. And I'm going to flip it over this way, right? And so CS pin is second from the bottom here. Make sure the pin that's missing is second from the bottom. And then we just put it on like that. Okay. Now this part is very tricky. This part is very tricky, very fiddly, right? When you put this header pin on at this right angle, when you wiggle it, you can see there's like you can feel it when you do it, when you'll be able to feel it. There's like a sweet spot where it's flat. And if you go too far to the right, it will bend. Sweet spot, too far to the left, it will sort of wiggle. Now the first thing we're going to do, let me put this here. This is my solder, right? You want to make sure this doesn't move. If you have one of those cylinders, just make sure it's not moving, right? So just put something on the left and right so that it doesn't move, because your left hand is going to hold the IMU, your right hand is going to hold the soldering iron, and then we're basically going to make it sort of touch this, right? And so we basically want to get an angle to touch this and solder to it now. Not easy, obviously. Not easy, but you're going to have to do it, so. Now the first time, don't worry if it's a little bit off, because after this we'll fix it, right? And so what I'll probably actually do is I'll probably just put it like this, and I'll grab the solder with my hand so I can apply it better. Make sure the part that you're soldering with is tinned. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of solder there, and now it's soldered there, right? And now it's not falling off by itself. Cool. After you do that, right, you want to be very careful here. You want to keep the solder melted. Don't touch that final pin that's hot, right? You want to keep this melted, right? And you'll be able to move and find the sweet spot. Let go. And now it is soldered in the sweet spot. And if you look, I'm just checking it. It's hard to see on camera, but like, it's pretty fucking flat. That's perfect. Cool. Also, the reason I wanted to do the writing in the bottom is because it's going to be hot glue, and I don't want that to fuck with the components. Cool. Now, once you've done that, you just want to solder the other side, right? And I'm just going to drop it like that. So it's just sitting there, and then I'm going to solder the complete opposite pin, just like normal. If you struggle with this, for sure, get some blue tack, like I said. Just trying to, probably too much solder, but anyway. So yeah, that's soldered the opposite pin now. Now, careful when you're touching it because it's hot, obviously. You did want to use blue tack, by the way. Ignoring how crusty my fucking blue tack is. I don't even want to put it on this because it's just going to pick up more dust. But anyway, you just put it on there, and then you just do that, and then solder one side. The first one, you have to do it mid-air, right, to make sure that it's flat. But when you're doing the opposite pin, this side, you can put it on this blue tack. Make sure it's secure, and then you can solder to it because like it's not going to move now, right? You put a little bit of force, it's not going to move that much. So yeah, I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did on the long row, on the short row. And also, at this point, just check. Well, you probably should have checked it before, to be honest, but anyway. Just make sure that the missing pin is aligned with CS. Just make sure that's the case. And yeah, we're just going to solder this side with 5 pins on it now. I'm going to do the exact same thing, right? Okay, well, one sec. All right, yeah, I retrieved the header pin. Yeah, we're just going to do the exact same thing. First pin, we're going to solder in the air. Don't worry if you get it wrong. We're going to resolder it in a second after. So again, make sure your solder is sort of mid-air. And then get your soldering iron in your right hand. Let me just make sure it's sort of tinned. And then I'm just going to solder one of the pins. Be careful though, again. Probably not going to show this on camera super great. If you want to get that. Okay, it's actually quite hard. I'm going to need to hold it. Oh, no, I got it actually. Yeah, just about soldered that. So yeah, just about soldered that. I don't know if you can see the rightmost pin, top right, is soldered. And again, make sure you're not touching that final pin because it's hot. And then we're just going to make sure that's molten. God, this fucking soldering iron's crusty right now. Let me tin it again. This is why the copper ball is super good. Make sure it's molten. Ow. Yeah, see, I was touching the hot pin there. I got fucking burnt. Anyway, just make sure you're not touching that. Make it molten. And then wiggle it. Try and find the sweet spot. Found it. That should be good. Let me check. Looks to be flat. Let me just check it 1 sec. Yeah, that's perfect. Cool. And then we're just going to do the opposite side, which is this rightmost side. Cool. Cool. And now everything's structurally sound. We just need to sort the rest of the pins. It's actually quite annoying because my light, I'm just casting a shadow every time I put my hands here. So it's really hard to see. I'm gonna probably do it down here, a little bit out of view, but yep. Just make sure when you're soldering the pins, right, do it left to right, because the soldering iron is coming in at the right side, so it's gonna be a little bit easier. I'm also probably gonna get, let me just get rid of some of the crust in this area. Yeah, make sure your working area is cleaner than this, because, yeah. I'm just going to make sure the right pins, or the top pins, are in there, and then, there we go. It shouldn't move that much now. Okay, it really can't grip onto this silicone pad, can it? It's good enough, it's good enough. Anyway, and again, do it left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the second pin from the left. Right, just make sure there's enough solder in there. Let's put a little bit more. There. And then I'm going to let it cool down, and then I'm going to do the third pin. Right. Boom. And then I'm going to make sure this first pin, I'm going to reflow it, right? Reflow it. Which basically just means melt it again and then unmelt it. And then I'm going to do this side. Yeah, it's really hard to see because I'm just casting a shadow. And then this is the last pin I need to do. There we go. And then I'm going to reflow this last pin over here. Make sure it's molten. Yeah, I mean, my solder is not really holding solder that well right now. There's a ton of crust on it, bro. I haven't used it in a minute, so that's why these copper balls are so good. So good. Anyway, so that's done. Let me, yeah, I mean, this fucking blue tack was barely doing anything. Hopefully that doesn't cause an issue on the header pins that I've put them in fucking, put them in blue tack. I don't think that's an issue, but whatever. I'm just inspecting the solder joints, making sure they're making connection. If you want to see, they're a little bit ugly. I don't know if it'll focus because, oh, there we go. A little bit ugly and uneven, but that doesn't matter. As long as this bottom row is nice and clean, nice and straight, that's all good. Yeah, so yeah, some of them are different size balls. It doesn't fucking matter. Cool. I'm going to do the other side. I guess maybe I should, like, do it like this. Maybe that will hold better. Maybe we'll try anyway. So again, same thing, left to right. I'm going to do the second pin first. Let me just, when you're soldering, make sure you, if you are using a copper ball, clean off the section of the tip that you're actually going to use, you know, so like if you're going to use, for example, the bottom of this tip, right, the bottom of the tip, then clean the bottom, don't clean the top, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to do the second pin, just like that, and then I'm going to do the third pin. I'm going to do all of them and then I'll reflow the first ones. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit shaky here, but yeah. And then I'm going to do the fourth pin, I think that is. fourth from the left. Boom. And now I'm going to reflow the final one on the right. Make sure it's molten. You can see when it's molten, it's like a little bit shiny. You can tell if you look closely. I'm going to reflow this first one on the left. Wait till it's shiny. If it's not turning shiny, oh, there we go. You might not have a great connection to it. I'm trying to add a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Now that's all done. All good. Remove the blue tack. It's a bit hot still, so. Yep, everything looks good. Very nice. Now the next part is actually pretty easy. We're just going to get the other BMI 160, and we're just going to put it on top in the header pins. Put it on top, just like that, and it should slide in relatively easy, just like that. And now we need to solder the pins. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing we did the first time. Let me get some blue tack. Again, just put it here and then push it into that. I'm just going to hold it steady enough. And then make sure your solder on this one doesn't climb too high. Okay? Don't let it climb too high. Right? So usually when I'm soldering a joint, when I'm done, I like to pull up. But this time, pull out. Pull out to the side. Okay? So yeah, once that's in place, that solder joint, I'm going to just make it molten again. Right? I'm going to push down to make sure it's fully flat. Pull out again to the side, like I said. Let go. And wait for it to solidify, and it's done. And now it's sort of, the position is locked in place. Now it's not gonna move. And I'm just gonna solder the rest of these pins. I'm gonna solder this opposite one first. All right. And again, don't let your solder climb too high. I think that's fine. Yep, it's not climbed too high. It's not really a danger. As long as you're just being somewhat careful, you'll be fine. And then let me solder the second from the left. The order doesn't really matter. I just do one side, and then I did the opposite side, and I'm just going to do the middle ones. The middle ones' order doesn't really matter. There we go. Do this one as well. Add a little bit more. There we go. I think that's all good. I'm gonna reflow the left one now. Add a tiny bit extra solder. Can't really. There we go. Molten, reflowed, cool. And I'm gonna reflow this right side as well. There we go. Cool. That one went a little bit high, but it's still not in the end, so it's fine. Cool. Okay. I'm going to put the blue tack here. I'm going to push the side with 5 pins into it, and just make sure it's all stable. You can also use helping hands for this shit, by the way. Just make sure it's not touching any components, I guess. I think that's how you do that. I have helping hands, but honestly, blue tack's better. Blue tack's just the goat. Anyway. Shout out to Jason, though, for this stacking idea. I'm pretty sure he told me about this. This dual gyro stacking thing. He's got like the dual gyro and the IMU on one header pins. I think that makes it harder as well, to be honest, though. That's why I didn't go for it. But it also makes the structural sort of integrity of the microcontroller much more important. Because if the microcontroller moves, the IMU moves. And if the IMU moves, that's bad. But if the microcontroller moves, it doesn't really matter. And the microcontroller is the only one that's actually going to face any stress from like plugging in and unplugging the USB. Anyway. Very hot, so yeah, be careful. Very hot. Okay. Yeah, so now we got 2 gyros in a fucking sandwich. Amazing. Alright, now that you have your BMI 160 in this dual gyro mounting thing, what you need to do is we're going to create some wires that are going to sort of be at specific lengths. So I've cut some example wires to show you, right? We have two different lengths. This is the short length, this green one. And it needs to be the length of the box, right, like this. About the length of this box, preferably a little bit more, this side of the box. And then the white wire is the length of the box and then wrapped around, right? It's hard to see because it's white, but yeah, it just goes along there and then it wraps around and comes around here. So you need to have 2 of the long wires and then 5 of the short wires. I'm going to cut those to length and I'll be back. Right, now I've got 2 long ones, these 2 white ones, and I've got 5 short ones. The short ones are going to be for the signal lines and the long ones are going to be for the power and ground. Next thing you want to do is you want to sort of take off the end, right? Like the reveal some of the actual wire, remove the rubber casing. So I'm going to do that for all of them, and then I'll be back. All right, I removed the sheathing from all of them. The next thing you want to do is you want to tin one side of every single wire, only one side. Tin only one side. The way I like to tin my wires is make sure the solder is kind of lifted in the air. First, let me clean my soldering iron, tin it, right? And then let's grab one of the wires. And what I'll do, left hand holding the wire, right hand holding the soldering iron, and kind of move it into frame a bit. And then I just put them all 3 together. Soldering iron touches the solder near the wire, wire catches on, and the wire is tinned. You can't really see it, but it's tinned. Only one side though, okay? Only one side of each wire. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be right back. Also a tip, before you tin it, just make sure none of the strands are like frayed to the side. Just kind of like do this and make sure they're all the strands are together before you tin it. Alright, so now that I've tinned all of them on one side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the IMUs upside down and rotate it so that the side with 7 on them is on the left side, right? And then I'm going to grab my tweezers. Oh, well, first things first, you want to tin the pad, the CS pad, right? In this case, it's top left, the second from the top, right? So I'm just going to, you can put blue tack if you need for this bit as well. But I think that's good. Yep, that looks good. And then make sure your tip is tinned. Mine's already tinned. I'm going to grab one of the shorter wires. And this one you want to be kind of precise with. I might need blue tack myself, bro. It keeps moving. It's pissing me off. Alright, well, finally soldered it. Yep, so after we do that, we need to do the rest of the cables. This is going to be on the top side, so it's not as hard. And this time we're going to have the side with 7 pins on the left, so that we can come in with the soldering iron on the right side. So, yeah, so let's start with the bottom first, probably. Solder that to the bottom pin. Then I'm going to tin the CS pad, which is the second one. Make sure we got some solder in that. Then I'm going to solder to it. Solder the wire to it. Very nice. Let me check my wiring one sec. So we just continue for the next two. Anyways, that's the last of the short wires. Then, yeah, the next two wires are going to be the ones that we're going to solder to. Just make sure you are soldering the tinned sides to these, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And these two, I guess all of them, right? You don't want to allow them to be shorted to each other. That would be pretty bad. That will do. That will do. Yep. So once you got all the wires like this, I want you to start like the first one is this bottom one. It should be easiest to kind of bend. Bend it in between the first and second wire. Right? Just like that. And then the rest of them, you kind of want to slowly bend it, you know? And then when you get your box and you try put it at the bottom, it might not be very easy, but eventually, right, as you keep caressing it in, it will slowly eventually kind of give way. And now I'm putting pressure and letting go, and the IMUs are not going any further down, which means it's right at the bottom. And then we also want it to be at the front right corner. Once that's the case, the wires will mostly hold it in place, but you still want to sort of make sure to put pressure just to be 100% sure. And yeah, so now I'm going to hot glue it. So I'm just turned on my hot glue gun and I'm waiting for it to heat up. And when I see signs of life, when I see the hot glue melting out of the tip, then I'm going to get ready. Just sort of make sure you have an idea of how you're going to do it. I'm going to use my index finger, kind of push in the corner, and then I'm going to hot glue in the top right corner. Just a little bit of hot glue is fine for now to hold it in place. Then if you're a bit paranoid, you can add more later. I'm just waiting for the hot glue to get creeped up. I had to push it back down. That's the main thing, it will creep back up. Probably don't need to push it in the corner that much. The main thing is make sure don't let it creep up. Oh, here we go. And I think that's maybe a little bit more. That's probably enough. I'm going to turn off the hot glue gun, get my tweezers, keep putting pressure, and then I'm going to push the hot glue down so it's more flat. Right? It's not really sticking too well to the IMU. It's literally just kept coming off. Might need to try it again. It's sticking too well. See in a bit, but it's first. I might just pull it all out if I can and try again in a bit. I think it's just making sure to go all the way in the corner, making sure that the nozzle of the hot glue gun goes all the way in the corner, right, so that it makes contact. So when the hot glue is its hottest, it's able to bond properly with the PCB and the edge of the 3D printed wall. Okay. I go all the way in the corner and squeeze, squeeze. Okay, that's good. I'm going to turn it off. Then I'm going to just, it's pretty flat. And just keep the pressure again down and in the corner. I'm going to poke it every now and again just to check. Almost solid. But I'm checking, and like it's very much up against this wall, and it's very much up against this wall, this right wall. Which means that we did it correctly, and I'm pushing, when you push down on it, it's not going any further down as well. So those three things need to be good. And yeah, it's good. I'm going to just let it sit now. Still a little bit. I'm going to let it sit for like 2 minutes without pressure, just to cool down, and I'll be back. Pretty much solid now. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn on the hot glue again. Turn it on. I'm going to wait for it to heat up, and then I'm going to put a bit of hot glue in this corner, bottom right corner, bottom right from this angle, bottom right this side, right? I'm not even going to show it on camera, I'm just trying to get a better angle for myself. Exact same thing. Try and flatten it down a little bit. This one's not really poking up. You see how there's two layers, right? The bottom layer, and then there's this layer here, and a bit on that side as well. Just make sure it's not like poking above the height of this, right? And you see it's poking a little bit, so I'm going to tap it down a little bit, but it's not really a problem. It's fine. Anyway, it's bonded pretty well, this one. I think this is fine. What I'll do is, in a bit, once this is solidified, I'll try and yank the cables, the wires, and if it like moves it, then we have an issue and we need to probably hot glue this one as well. If not, then it's fine. Okay, it's pretty much solid. I'm tapping it, and sounds solid to me. So I'm gonna pull on these wires with a decent amount of force. I mean, like if you do this, right, you hold the wires, just the wires, and then you do this, and it doesn't move. And I'm just gonna like put a little bit of pressure, see if it's like any movement, up and down movement, and there's not. So that's a good test, right? So just grabbing by the wires and shaking it around up and down like this, and then testing, does it move when you push down and up? No, so it doesn't. So that means it's probably strong enough. It will be fine. So, okay, well this part's not that hard. We just get the RP2040, 100 kilo ohm resistor for the touch sensor. Highly recommend you just solder this, bro. I know you might not want a touch sensor, but it's super easy to do. There we go, resistor. Booyah. You can put it back in the bag, one sec. Okay, so the resistor should be able to fit through the pins like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to kind of do a right angle as close as you can to the resistor. Just make a right angle on the pin, just like this. And do the same thing on the other side, as close as you can to the resistor. Okay, cool. Something like this. Right. And I'm just gonna put it through. Just like that. It's gonna go through pins 9 and 12. Just like this, and it's literally just sitting on the PCB. Just cool. Now, what we do is we're gonna solder it on. Now we want to solder it on the top side. And yeah, what I recommend you do, right, is there's legs sticking out on the bottom, right? I want you to sort of hold the resistor in place and then push the legs to rotate them, right? And then the legs will basically be like in parallel. Now soldering it is going to be quite a bit easier. Anyway, RP2040. I'm just going to solder to the feet there. Let me just double check the resistance one sec. Alright, yeah, the resistance is fine. I was just a bit scared that I fucked something up. We basically just got to remove the extra bit. So I'm just going to keep bending it back and forth until it breaks. Or you can just get one of these things and cut it off. I think I'm going to bend it though. Oh, there we go. Got it off. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Yep. So, nothing on the back there. It's just the resistor. Cool. Now we're going to start soldering to the RP2040. And I'm going to presume that you already did the resistor for it. If you did that already, then when, wherever you want to like, I mean, you only need to do this resistor if you want a touch sensor, but I recommend just putting it on there if you have one lying around anyway. But you want to solder a wire from the left one. And I won't really show it in this video because it's like pretty easy. But the basic idea is that you solder a wire from this left side, which is pin 12, right? Left side. You solder a wire from that. And then the other end of the wire, you also expose it. And then you get Faraday tape or copper tape or aluminium foil or whatever. And you connect it to the wire. The wire needs to sit underneath of the tape on the sticky side. And it needs to have a physical connection with the exposed wire. What I did when I did it on my Steam controller was I used normal clear tape on the rubber part of the wire, and then I made sure that the Faraday tape was only making contact with the exposed part of the wire. So you probably want to expose like a decent chunk of the wire. So as for the length of the wire, it's kind of up to you, depending on like where you plan on putting it, where you potentially plan on putting it. So make your own considerations for that, and make sure you do that before this step. Okay, cool. Well, I guess no, you can do it in a bit anyway, but I recommend just maybe getting it over with now. But yeah, so now, you see how one wire is shorter than the other ones? That's because it's coming from underneath the BMI 160. I want to solder that one first, so it's really complicated. But basically I want to bend these guys out of the way, like this. Just bend them out of the way. Right, and then you want to make sure that none of the strands are frayed or, kind of sticking out or whatever. Kind of pinch and pull a little bit, or stroke, whatever you want to call it. Don't stroke, do the DGB, please. Anyways, I don't know why I said that. Cool. So now it's kind of flat, and you see the 5 pin, right? We want the wire to go through the pin. Get it through. If you need to, pinch it again. You can also twist it a little bit. Twisting can help. Yeah. Now that you've kind of got it in there, it should just be able to just sit there and grab your soldering iron. I'm going to clean it up a bit. I'm going to tin it, right? And then make sure it's sticking out a decent bit. I'm going to just kind of put a little bit of solder on it, but you probably want to get solder. And I'm going to come in from the top side because it's near the button, so make sure my solder is there we go, and it's soldered. It's soldered. Yeah, so that's one of them done. The next one is the bottom short pin is going to go all the way up to GPIO 0. Okay. And now again, you want to be kind of careful. I'm going to move the microcontroller to the right side a little bit, and then get my tweezers, grab the cable, and bring it all the way around to the right side. Right. And now the cable's sticking out the right side. Cool. And I'm going to get the tweezers and make sure, first of all, it's straight, right? Pinch and pull, right? You can twist as well. And I'm going to try and get it through the 0 GPIO hole. The strands went absolutely everywhere. I'm going to twist and pull. Okay, one of the strands is loose, but it's not really going anywhere near the other pins, so I'm okay with it. And then I'm going to solder it first. Where's my solder? God, I opened the window and now it's blowing the air into my face. Okay. And then I'm going to make it molten. Try and angle it a little bit better. It'll do. That's the SAO pin connected to GPIO 0. Next is a CS pin, which is going to be the lowest unconnected wire. Which should be the second pin on the bottom left of the IMU. The second pin down there, this wire is connected to. It's connected to the second bottom pin on the top side of the IMU. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to grab the wire, pull it all the way to the right side. Right. And then we need to get it into GPIO 1 this time. I think that's connected. Not a great joint, but I think it'll do. Cool, that's GPIO 1 connected. Next we're going to GPIO 2, which is SCL, which is the middle pin. So now there's two unconnected pins, right? Two unconnected wires. We want the upper wire. Right? There's two unconnected wires. We want the upper wire, right? And then again, I'm gonna put it to the right side with tweezers. And this one needs to go to GPIO 2, which is, it goes from the top down on the microcontroller. From the top down, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to connect to 2. Fine, cool. Now the last one is going to be 3. Last one of the short wires, obviously. Gonna try and like be a little bit wary of the routing of it, but it's really dependent on how your other wires have turned out. It's not really a big deal though. Even if you have completely shit wiring or like routing of the wires, it's not a big deal. Basically, once you got all of that done, you want to get the white wire and bring it to the right side, the top right side. And you want to make sure the top one is still at the top and the bottom one is still at the bottom, okay? So look at where it's connected inside the IMU, all right? The top one, it's at the top, and the bottom one is at the bottom. Cool. And make sure to keep that configuration, and then kind of want to move over the microcontroller and kind of push it in. It's going to be a little bit tight. That's okay. Just make sure you got that white wires like that. I'm going to pull it out again, right? And then we're going to start to solder them. So the top wire is 3v3, it's power, right? So the top wire we're going to connect to 3v3, which is the first one's 5 volts, then it's ground, then it's 3v3. So third pin from the top, and I'm going to tin the pad first. Okay, that's not great. And then I'm going to tin the one above it, the ground pad. Kind of melted the box there. It's fine. It's fine. Again, remember the top wire, the top long wire, is the one that's going to be connected to 3v3. So we're going to do the bottom wire first. Bottom wire connects to ground. I'm going to tin the tips of the wires. Second, the lower wire is ground. And connect it to ground. I think first thing, probably best to kind of crease it into position a little bit. I'm going to double check the IMU to make sure that they're not moving. Push down with the tweezer. Yeah, nothing's moving. That's great. Cool. I'm going to put some... God, there's a lot of crust in this blue tack. A lot of metal bits and shit. I'm going to put blue tack on the box. I'm probably going to rotate like this so that my right hand can access it easier. A little bit of blue tack on the other side as well. I mean, it's attached to the little carpet thing, right? The silicone mat. And the silicone mat can move, so it's not really great. Preferably you'd be on something that doesn't move, or just put like a heavy weight on your silicone mat if you have one. I can't be asked to put my mat away because there's so much shit on it, and I can't be. Anyway. Focus. Solder it to ground. I might blue tack the RP2040. I don't have any blue tack left, actually. Steal a little bit from this. Oh, no, that's a good solder joint. That's a juicy solder joint. Then I'm going to get this other wire, which is the upper wire. Bring it, can you even see? Yeah, bring it around. And then solder it to 3v3. This one's like easier, much easier. Look at that. Amazing. Cool. Now you can remove this blue tack, remove that blue tack, remove that blue tack. Cool. Now basically, you just push the box to the right, push it down, and then like kind of just push it down. Don't put too much pressure. I'm gonna flatten the wires a little bit. I'm gonna make sure this one goes around there. And yeah, that's kind of it, bro. You can put like quite a bit of pressure on the right side. It's fine. It's just like rubber wire, bro. It's not a big deal, to be honest. And then in this sort of you don't hot glue it yet. Just plug it into the PC and check that it actually works. Like flash the firmware and check that it actually works. And then put it back together. And I'm gonna probably have it in the video of how to check if it works. So I will do that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, test it, and I'll be back. So to test if if everything has gone correctly, what you need to do is you need to get your dual gyro box, and I want you to be very careful because at this point you shouldn't have it hot glued. And what you want to do is you want to plug in the USB-C on your RP2040 side, right? But don't plug it in on the other side, right? On the USB-A side. Don't plug it into your PC. And then hold the boot button on the RP2040 and then plug it in. Right? And if you do it correctly, you should get a sort of USB thing here. If you go to your file explorer, you'll see there is an RPI RP2, and then in the description I'll have like a download link for the firmware, which will just be a UF2 file. You basically just want to like copy this and then go into the RPI and you just want to paste it, and it will automatically disconnect and wait because it will make another sound. There we go. That's the second sound. That means it has successfully calibrated the gyros. Well, hopefully. If you don't hear that sound, something's probably wrong. But anyway, where did I put that? One sec. Anyway, so I'll also have in the description this test controller thing, which we're going to use to test the fucking controller. It's an SDL3 program. You just want to open test controller exe, and you want to see these accelerometer readings first. Right, you see this first value? It's like rapidly changing. That's good. This one is rapidly changing. That's good. This one's rapidly changing. That's good. Same with the gyros. All three are like changing. They're not staying the same. Now, the next thing I want you to do is, and you want to be very careful with this, you want to rotate the gyro, right? And you want to make sure that you're getting readings above 125. So like if you look closely, you can see that I'm getting like 300, 400 at times. And so yeah, as long as you're getting at least one reading above 125, then that's good. Also, the estimated sensor time is about 1000 hertz, so that's perfect. And yeah, if that's all good, then you can just close it, and you have everything has been successful then, if that's all checked out properly. All right. So now that the testing is done and it's tested and it's fine, it's correct. Now is the time that we kind of put it together. Now that I'm looking at it, I recommend the ground wire. It's fucking cold. I recommend the ground wire, which is, as you can see, the one that's connected to the second pin of the microcontroller on the left side. Maybe route it a little bit lower so it's not sitting on the USB-C, but it's fine. So then you kind of just like clamp it down, right? And then we're gonna hot glue in a bit. Yeah. I guess I can probably just like bend the wire so it happens as well. Yeah, I guess kind of did that there. Now it's not sitting on the USB-C. So yeah, basically we're just gonna squash it down. Just gonna like squash it down, right? And you can put pressure on the cables on the right side. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Just squash it down until it's like not sticking out the top of the box. And what I'd recommend is you put your thumb like this, right? And that way you're kind of pushing in the middle. And then I'm gonna turn on my hot glue gun. And I'm gonna put pressure in that specific location that I was saying. And then I'm gonna wait for the hot glue gun to warm up first before I put pressure. But yeah, just make sure that it's like most definitely sort of sunken flat beneath the head of it. And then when the hot glue is ready to go, I'll just touch it a little bit. I guess I'll probably do it in that corner, which is the bottom left. Anyway, I'm gonna just put it in that corner. And just kind of squeeze out some hot glue in there. That's pretty much it. Turn it off. And then I'm gonna push it back in. Make sure it's flat. Right, make sure it's flat. Great. Keep pressure though, keep pressure, because when you let go, the sort of springiness of the wires will push up and it could affect the hot glue sort of setting properly. So make sure you're trying to keep up the pressure. I'm going to turn on the hot glue gun again. And then I'm going to solder hot glue the opposite side. You can't see anything, but just trust me. I'm hot gluing it right now. I mean, why would I lie about that? Anyway. Yeah, it's hot glued. It's not sticking out, so I don't really need to push down. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. It's there. I'm just going to let it cool down. Pretty much that's it. Yep. If you had the wire in the soldered on the resistor, then just make sure that if you had the wire soldered onto the resistor, then make sure you were careful of that. Maybe just like put blue tack on here and attach it to that, just so that it's out of the way of the hot glue. But I mean, even if you get a little bit of hot glue on it, it's no big deal. It needs to stay connected to the resistor anyway. It's not a big deal. Anyway, I'm sure it's fine now. It's mostly solid. Cool. And yeah, it's not sticking out of the box at all. I guess there's a strand right there. I'm going to pull off that strand. And yeah, now it's not sticking out the box. It just slides. The tweezer just slides off the top. It's not touching these wires. It's not touching the hot glue. Yep, and that's the dual gyro box, bro. And then you just got double-sided tape the bottom onto whatever you want to attach it to, probably a controller. And then do the conductive tape thing if you have that. Yeah, I think that's it. See ya.